Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast, Chassis Chatter. We hope you all enjoyed the Spanish Grand Prix. We have mixed thoughts on it, probably. Well, I do. We'll probably go through the race and then rate the drivers. So let's begin.
Brilliant. So, qualifying. I don't know. I was watching it. I was quite impressed by. It seemed that to me that the Alpines had a bit of pace. Seeing both Ocon and Alonso in really putting it in there, but that doesn't really seem to be translating. Like, they're great in qualifying, but that's about it.
Yeah, sadly, I had internet issues and I had some dance, so I didn't make it back until the last session. But when I did, I enjoyed it. It was great. Well, it seems to be you set the lap before the last official lap. Like, you set it. He set it ages ago.
Partly why it's fun to watch qualifying and trying as best they can, but like when you know it's going into the race the next day, you already know, don't you? So, you can tell. But either way, I out of the two of us guessing pole, I seem to got this one.
Well, I wanted to spice it up. Okay, you put yours down first, so I couldn't be like, I'm going to go the same.
No, well, I thought to be honest, that both actually it showed Lewis and Max both had a lot of pace on the track. They were like obvious that they're going to be the two standouts. So we knew Saturday that this is not really going to be a race where Bottas is fighting with them two. It's instead of it really come down to whether or not there's any support behind them. But again, I was really pleasantly surprised, like Ferraris as well. Like this seems to be like Renaissance style, really starting to come ahead in that midfield. Like McLaren had a really bad start.
Oh, they weren't even there, really.
No, well, this is the problem.
And ninth.
Yeah, but this is the problem with. But I know Norris got really wound up because he was so angry that he thought, oh, it was meant to be a better weekend this weekend, and still, it ended up really not particularly great, starting ninth, and like he started ninth, and I think he ended eighth, didn't he? He made a place back. Yeah, he made one place up, but that was about it. Like they really did. I don't know. McLaren didn't. I don't think found themselves at this circuit very well in comparison to where they've been standout really previously.
Yeah, there's just two things. Other things I want to comment on was Yuki Tsunoda. Apparently, after he qualified 16th, he wasn't very happy with it. He said some things about the team.
Yeah,
and whether he was made to apologise or he apologised, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. But I remember looking at it because I didn't really see it until race day, and I was looking at all the. It came up, and it was like, I'm so sorry for my actions, what I've said, and I was thinking, oh.
Yeah, well, I actually so it's because what he said was, why is my car worse than Gasly's? This is a mechanical standpoint.
Fair point.
But I don't know. This is, I was one of those people really hyping up Tsunoda, and I was saying that really quite excited. Where that pre-season testing he looked good, and then Bahrain looked really good, and then since then it's just been an absolute downturn. This is the irony, though. So he complains about the car on Saturday, and Sunday makes it 3 laps, and the engine goes.
I mean, if he believes he could be qualifying a lot higher, we don't know what's happening. Like, I don't really know the logistics, like if they're favouring one or the other. Is one got a better upgrade packet for the other? Or they're testing out things on his car. We don't really know that side of the logistics. We could probably find out, but might take a while. But we don't know. We don't really know the ins and outs what's happening in the team.
I'm a bit apprehensive. I was so looking forward to a really, really competitive midfield with new teams, but I don't know. It's seeming seemingly it's just going to be Ferrari and McLaren, and maybe Alpine if they find their race pace again. That's about
Well,
it.
Alpine seems to be fighting Aston Martin, but even then they're not really.
No, so you're lucky. Whoever picks up 9th and 10th is best of these teams that are a bit at the moment.
And I would say that includes Toro Rosso.
Yes. Well, it's AlphaTauri now, isn't it?
Well, I would say AlphaTauri. No. Oh, sorry. Yeah. What? Confused.
You're going back a year. Well, and then this is the final irony, isn't it? Another one I know you want to comment on as well. Mazepin's 5-pace grid penalty, which
he also got 1 point to his name.
Oh yeah, one point.
Finally
on his
got something
license.
That's on his a point.
Yeah, he got a point on his license.
Dangerous. But he qualified last, and he started last.
And he finished
last.
Yeah, I don't know. Mazepin. He's not really come out this weekend and said, "I don't believe in the gentleman's agreement for qualifying and things like that," and I'll just get lost.
Didn't I swear Leclerc said something in FP3?
Yeah. He's one of his
where he was just having a go at him.
Yeah, he wouldn't get out of the way, and he decided to take the corner again like he always does. Right. It's just
and then we'll come on to the drama around him during the race.
Yes. So to be honest, I don't think there's much more in qualifying. It didn't outshow anything that we didn't already know. No really big surprises. So I'll go into the race. I think the most interesting part.
I mean, yeah.
I quite like this. I like the first lap madness a bit. That there was at least some of that, because I'm one of this opinion where I wasn't really enthralled by Spanish Grand Prix personally. I didn't find it as really exciting.
I wasn't either. It was just the first lap that really was quite exciting, where everyone was overtaking everyone.
Yeah.
And, didn't Leclerc get up to third at one point?
Yeah, Leclerc took Bottas, and that's what ruined Bottas's race. That's what really wound him up, because his race was over by that time. Because you overtake at turn 1, and that's it. And then you got to wait. And I think that's the problem really with the Barcelona track, and that's why I'm so glad that Michael Massey has actually said they're looking and have been thinking about removing the chicane. It means we will finally have that turn just flat, which should mean it opens it a bit more to overtaking. But
I hope so. There really wasn't any really places to overtake, and it was really sad.
Yeah, all right, great. So that whole thing of so when I'm losing my words here. Even with DRS, you could just see they were racing down the straight, and it's like, oh no, can't get turn 1, next lap, can't get it now, next lap. That's all it really was. So it was slightly a bit Monaco-ish for me.
Yeah, and we don't need another Monaco.
No, I think one is more than what we need. So,
but you don't like Monaco.
No, I don't. So next week's going to be fun. And then I think going back to that irony of Yuki's safety car from the beginning, which it was in the pit gravel. It wasn't quite. It was in the gravel trap, wasn't it? So they couldn't just virtue it, which was irritating because Max had a decent start. And I think that it is at that point that it became clear that I think Mercedes were thinking about a 2-stop, realising that they can eke out a little bit more.
Well, Hamilton said it was always going to be a 2-stop because he's led the race before and said, it's hard to not do 2 stops because your tyres wear out.
Yeah.
So I do think he had the knowledge, and the team had the knowledge of leading the race and the track to be able to realise that, hey, it doesn't matter if you lose it on the first lap, or because we're going the long game. And interestingly, Hamilton really wasn't really fighting it.
No.
Previously he would be like, I want to overtake you now, trying to overtake wherever. But he was just I'm just gonna overtake you when I can,
Yeah.
not risk it.
He knew the right thing to do, and this is the problem. It was just like immediately, once it became clear that he went in, everyone was like, this is Hungary 2019 all over again. Like, it was inevitable at lap 40 when Hamilton come in. And was just like, oh, okay, new tyres. Great, that's we know where the race will end now. And then that was the whole thing of everyone coming in at the end, wasn't it, for the fastest lap? Because everyone was just like, well, that's the next thing to do. Next best thing.
He got a fastest lap. Oh, was it Perez?
I think it was Perez.
I think Perez got it, yeah.
Yeah. Fastest lap did go to... Oh, no, Max got it.
Oh, okay, I'm happy with that.
So he got lap 62, fastest lap, which was a 1:18, 1:49. So
okay.
Beat Bottas by nearly a second. So, but I think that this is the problem though. It's just another time Red Bull strategy let them down, isn't it? Like it's the thing they just don't do well at is the strategy, and I don't know if it's because they were hoping Checo to be more involved than he was, but again,
I would have ruled him out because he didn't qualify well and he wasn't well. So, not being funny, but like I wouldn't have pictured him up there in the first place. So, okay, yes, he was 2 against 1 again, but still, they were just a bit lazy.
Yeah, they seemed really laid back though.
You have to cover Lewis. You have to cover him.
Yeah,
because he'll just take the opportunity.
But they seemed so laid back. That was what was worse, was when it happened and they just went, and Max knew immediately what was going to happen. He knew, and in the interview he said, well, it was obvious it was going to happen. And
he was begging his mechanics and like everyone on the radio going, can we pit? My tyres are not, can we pit? Can we pit? And they're like, no, you got it. We want track position. And I was like, it doesn't matter.
No, you're going to lose it. And, well, it's the one thing Red Bull needs, if they actually are wanting to be title challengers, they've got to sort this strategy out.
If I was Max, I would go into the briefing and be like, listen, if you want to keep me and you want to win, we have a good year, we have a good opportunity this year, but you're messing it up. Not me, you are.
Yeah. I don't know. If it depends what happens next week, because next week is going to come down to more so strategy and pitting and everything else.
It is a Red Bull dominated track, and if they mess that up and it's their track, like...
Well, we say Red Bull dominated, but they do well there, don't they?
Yes, it's not, but they tend to do well, okay?
Yeah, but it's, I don't know, I'm a bit cautious of just exactly what's going to happen next week, because it's all about... We'll know basically most of the race by qualifying the week after next. So it's
probably first lap. That's
like
even then it's not really.
we are pretty clear what's going to happen, except for if there's any like major things. But for this race, I was really the one thing this race does highlight, moving on from the leaders, is like just how much Alpine's race pace doesn't exist. Like, well, I know I said it in qualifying, where they looked really good, but going into lap 60, late 50s, late 60s, Alonso was a sitting duck in 10th, and he got overtook. He ended 17th, wasn't it? I believe.
I think he pitted. Yeah, and then it just.
Yeah, he pitted and gave up. Once he got overtaken, he just pitted and went, "That's it," and wasn't really too concerned. But you can just see, like, it just doesn't translate at all.
Yeah. There was 2 other things that I want to mention. The first one was the whole Mazepin causing an issue again.
Oh, yeah.
And it was interesting because we had Toto complained to the FAI, and we heard the radio.
Yeah,
I've never heard that before. We've never heard them talk to the FIA.
That's new this year. So from this year, you get radios from teams to FIA as well, which is quite nice.
Which is really interesting. And it was nice to hear that they are like, what is happening to Mazepin? What is Mazepin?
Yeah, right, exactly. And what is he doing?
Honest, usually they complain about everyone. Not gonna lie, everyone, all top teams complain about everyone. But I do feel like he wasn't a right to say something. Like it wasn't just like, oh my God, it's so dangerous. But he wouldn't let them through.
No.
He was ruining their race.
Yeah. Well,
that's not fair.
No, but it's standard. And this is the point I don't think Mazepin actually gives.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't care. Like he I don't. This is the problem. Like Haas are stuck with him because he's bringing a lot of sponsorship money in. But is he a driver fit for
teams?
Yeah, but is he actually a decent driver? No. Is he respected on the track? No. Like he is that FP3 Leclerc. What the hell is Mazepin doing? He's ignoring blue flags last week. Like just utter mistake after mistake, and he's like, "Oh, he's a young driver. He'll learn. We've got promise in him."
No, he won't.
Not at all. And this is the irony, isn't it? Mazepin has been set up to be hated by the F1 community well over a year in advance after his theatrics that he decided to pull on Instagram, and then so I was like, "Yeah, no, this is fine."
I'm not talking. I can't talk about that. That's just
this is just like we knew how bad he what he's behaved like. So why did we expect anything else when he's actually racing?
I'm with you on that, and it also makes Stroll
yeah.
Everyone was complaining about Stroll. He had respect.
Yeah,
and he's a decent driver.
No, he is.
He's got a podium. He's won he's actually won Formula the lower ranks. He's actually won things or second. He's a decent driver.
Yeah.
I was always like, don't give. Everyone was giving hate. I was a bit like, no, he's actually all right.
Yeah. Like
Mazepin's come in, and we're like, Stroll, we love you now.
Yeah. Like it's the change, isn't it? Like, but Mazepin has showed nothing. Like, okay, I get it, you're in a bad car, but at least show respect and actually try and partake rather than just complain, refuse to do things the way they're meant to be done. And
no other team will want to work with him.
No, he is never going to get a contract outside Haas. No team will take him. He is so much of a liability. I don't know how long his contract is with Haas, actually. I know Haas normally do multi-year contracts.
I want him gone. And I feel like the FIA needs to start to step in.
Yeah.
Because it is getting dangerous and it's putting people's lives at risk. I'm going to say it. That's not on.
No.
The rules are there to keep them safe and to make racing fair and to have a good... And if he's starting to disobey that, and we're going into race week 4 or 5 now.
Yeah, we're 5. So we'll be going into 6, won't we? So, isn't it?
4. We're going to 5 next week. Race 5 next week. You should know by now.
Yeah, it's obvious that you should realise, but it's not, and I don't think we should expect anything else from him. But it's like I don't understand this. Like Mazepin's he seems to because none of his penalties actually really affect him, do they? This is the one. Whereas Gasly's, we were talking about penalties. Gasly's starting outside his box, got a 5-second penalty at the beginning of the race. Not only did he serve that 5-second penalty in a really competitive field around that point, he still ended up with points. He ended 10th. This is the thing where I can expect all these things with the penalties, but other drivers serve them and be done with it and actually improve. But Mazepin's just, again, doesn't care.
No, it's a shame. Shall we move on to the other thing we wanted to mention, which was the god-awful pit stop that was Giovinazzi.
He ruined his race.
Yeah.
No.
I was really sad to see it because he's one that I feel like could do really well in the future.
Yeah.
I could see him at least, he is in the Ferrari thing. So I do think one day he could end up in Ferrari.
Yeah.
I don't think he's, a champion, but I do think he's decent.
Yeah.
And will give. But just, he could have ended up a lot higher. Like he could have been fighting for points or,
Yeah, like, this is the. I don't know. He's going to be at. He's going to be at Settle. I'm about to say Sauber, Alfa Romeo. I don't know if he may graduate out and get into a Ferrari drive, but Leclerc's going to be there for the long haul, and so is. And they like Sainz quite a bit at the moment, so I don't see them two moving anytime soon. The problem is that I can't blame Giovinazzi for that pit stop. So the car, he had problems just before the safety car hit, which is understandable. So that's why he come in, and then. I don't even think it's not really the mechanic's fault. Really, it's just such an oddity thing to happen that tire was punctured. It's probably been sitting. They haven't checked them. They've just been. Is that tire been sitting in a blanket, and he's gone to pick it up and he's realised it's deflated, and then had to call everyone to go get a new set of tires because they can't put one.
You would think you would check before?
These probably maybe pre-packed in heat warmers that you just plug them in. So this could even be a factory problem of when they've actually got the tyres. Like we don't know when in the line that this tyre is punctured, but it's such a rarity to have a brand new tyre puncture before you even put it on the tyre or on the car. So I don't really blame that. I think it's just may have damage in transport.
He was lucky that they picked it up before they put it on.
It was lucky, yeah. That's the
and
thing.
Didn't leave and then have a puncture, then end the race. That's his race done.
Yep.
So
no, he was lucky that his mechanic spotted it and then called all the other mechanics to change their tires. I'm assuming there'll be a few questions asked about that, like how the hell did it happen? But
I feel like there would be an investigation, and I think Pirelli will be interested to see because it reflects badly on them.
Yeah.
It's their tyres, and if it does come pre-packed and they just have to put it in a heat, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm assuming they've got the tyres from Pirelli and then they've put them in a heat blanket at the factory or wherever, and they've just put it on a truck and then unloaded it. So somewhere it's like between the point of where they picked it up and put it in a blanket and the time they've taken it out of the blanket to put it on the car that saying it's punctured.
I feel like they're quite hard to puncture. Wouldn't they be?
Yeah, they should be, or it could be a problem with the rubber that's on the tyre that's just weak at a point. It's lucky you weren't even driving on it. Like, there's so many different things that could go wrong with it. It
could have been really dangerous.
Yes, but it's such a rare thing to happen. That's what's the most interesting. That is, at no point do you ever really see a tyre puncture before it goes on the car.
Yeah.
So
we're just quite lucky that they found it and he wasn't trying to leave and he had a puncture because he's quite far the way down. Like,
yeah,
you'd have to.
Well, he ruined his time completely in the race. Once they realised he was in the pit for 15 seconds, so that was his race over. So he didn't really care anymore at that point. So, well, I think we've discussed most of the race. Do you want to move on to our little ratings section and what we think of each driver this week?
Yeah, I don't think we don't really need to explain what's happening.
No, I think we've done.
Just get straight to it.
Yeah, no, we've gone over quite through, and people who've been listening enough will know our rating system by now. So we'll do a podium quickly. Hamilton, Verstappen, and Bottas. Quick fire. What do you make of it?
So I gave Hamilton a 7A. Like, it was a good drive, but it wasn't like wow. Like, I feel like for him, he'd have to be last to go first, or at least outside the point and had to make like really good overtakes or like had to fight for it. You know what I mean? It was pretty much in his hands, basically.
Yeah.
Verstappen, I gave 7B. It wasn't his fault. Strategy. He did a good drive, I feel like. And Bottas, I gave 6A. I felt like it was okay, but like he just wasn't there, and he did give a fight because he didn't want to let Hamilton through. So showing that he was a bit like, I don't really want team orders. I want, I'm not just
racing. I did. I was a bit kind to Hamilton. I did go into the 8s for him. I gave him an 8C, slightly because it includes team strategy. I will win that point because he, as you pointed out earlier, he was calling for a 2-stop race, so he was part of this whole thing. And I made the race slightly more interesting for me to watch, even if it was an inevitability. So give it a bit kinder there. Verstappen I gave a 7C. Again, wasn't that first corner, his first corner stuff, great, lovely for first turn, getting really on the inside of Lewis. Amazing they didn't touch. But after that, he was just like sitting duck for the rest of it. And Bottas, I agree, I gave him a 6A. His race did get hampered by Leclerc on the first lap. So Bottas really couldn't do anything for the rest of the race.
Shall let's do them one by one. We'll just quickly do it.
Yeah.
So we'll just do Leclerc. We both gave a 6A.
Yep. Not nothing really to say about it. He was there. He did a good job. Ferrari doing well.
Oh God, you finally say what I say every week. Who's there? And again, he's picking up the points. And what do points make? God, George.
Prizes.
We have to think there.
No, of course I knew exactly what you meant. I'm sure. Maybe.
Okay, we'll do Perez. I gave a 6C. You gave a 5B. Same
6B,
area.
6B. I was a bit kinder.
Right.
Yeah, he again there.
He has a bit of his own race, to be honest.
Yeah, it was
qualified. He qualified.
He was ill at qualifying, so he didn't particularly have a good day. He qualified 8th, so he got position, he got points, but yeah, I think he's still settling in. That's where we're at. So I'll give him a bit more benefit of the doubt.
Ricardo, I gave a 7C. You gave 7B. Massive improvement from last week.
Yeah.
But, it still wasn't wow. It wasn't the usual Ricardo that we're used to.
When it's not Ricardo that you used to have at Red Bull, but I think he's definitely getting his flair back, and definitely this week really showed it. It's why I gave him that 7B, because it was like the old Ricardo that we've seen, who wants to fight, and if he gets the chance, he will.
Science, we both gave a 6A. I thought he did a good drive, but then again, he was 2 places down from Leclerc, so he got out qualified by his teammate. But I do think it was a good drive for him. Yeah,
no, I agree. Ferraris again, the Ferraris are really starting to show their pace again. So they're in their stride.
And also, considering he's new to the team, that's a good place to be.
Yeah,
he's so consistently each week that I think out of all people who change teams, he's adapted the best, I would say.
Oh yeah, definitely, because he's clearly adapted the best because his race engineer isn't calling him the guy the seat that he did replace. Carlos, Daniel, pit. So
I do see in the heat of the moment you do forget.
Yeah, I suppose so. It was quite funny though.
Yeah. Norris, I gave a 6B. I'm expecting him to be a lot higher, so I don't think it was amazing for him.
Yeah, I don't know.
He made one place.
I gave him a 6A. He
wasn't really in it. He was just there.
Yeah, I gave him a 6A. He was there, but I think it's one of them races where the track, you just got to give drivers benefit of the doubt, because if you don't have track position, you're not really going to go anywhere. Like, he still did well. He defended his position. He got points in where he needs to get points in. Like, at the end of the day, it's broken his streak of doing really well. But I think it's not a great track at the end of the day for drivers to actually make places. So if you do make places, then you actually are doing something well.
Ocon, I gave a 6C, you gave a 6B. Again, he seemed to do well, but it wasn't wow.
No, I gave it mostly, again, it's team pace is why. And because he's got that pace there with the team, that's why he's got that rank that he has. So.
And Gasly, I gave 5A. He made the mistake of not parking his box right, which is his fault, not the team's fault.
Yep.
He served his penalty, and for him to get into the points, I was impressed. But if it wasn't the usual Gasly flair, I don't know, something wasn't up with him. Something was up with him this weekend. He was just in a bit, I don't know. And you gave a 6C.
Yeah,
so we were similar.
We're similar. I was a bit kinder. I think he's not. The team isn't showing as. I think it's the team not showing the flair that it had previously from last year. But he served a penalty, made lots of places back. Good drive from him at the end of the day, in comparison to his teammate. So
we'll just quickly fire. We'll just do. So Stroll, I gave a 5C. You gave a 4A.
Yep.
Kimi, I gave a 5C. You gave a 5B. Vettel, I gave a 5C. You gave a 5C. Russell, I gave a 4A. You gave a 5B. That's a big gap.
Yeah, I was a bit kinder of Russell because he showed actually at one point when he was running in the points, he was actually showing that the Williams had a bit of something to it. But it was bearing in mind that he's put that car in the best position. It's when you take it in context of what the race was, that's the best that the car has done so far. So
what's best of the last group? No.
Best of the back markers.
0.3. Then Giovinazzi gave a 4A. You gave a 5B.
Yeah.
Latifi, I gave a 4B. So did you. Alonso, I gave a 4C. You gave him a 3A.
Yeah, again, it wasn't one of his best races. I don't know what was going on there. He just kind of got left out to dry at the end. And then you can see that he just gave up and then sorry, I'll put a new set of tyres on and be done with it.
Schumacher, we both gave a 3A. Mazepin, we both gave a 1C, but I don't think we need to explain that one. And Yuki, I gave a 3A. So I was kind of, you gave him a 3C.
Yeah, I again, my Yuki hype is slowly rubbing off. I was expecting big things from him, and so far he's shown not very much. And I know it's probably not his fault, but he kicked off over the weekend and then caused the safety car. I know that car mechanically fouls, but still, he's just not showing anything to the team so far that is wow factor that other teams are actually getting out of it now in this stage in the calendar.
Yeah, shall we move on to predictions?
Yes.
So, who won the bonus point for pole?
Yes.
You did Hamilton, I did Bottas because he put his down first, so
sure.
Spice it. And then we both pretty much did the same order, so we got the top three right.
Yep. So we're our grand totals now of Ella's on 5 and I'm on 13. So we're
catching up. It's fun. I'm catching up.
Well, this is the thing. We may be completely wrong because we have got completely different Monaco predictions this time, haven't we? We're not,
Ew.
Which is quite impressive. So, who do you think is for pole then?
I'm going to go for Max. The bonus point, I'm going to go for Max.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is the thing. I've gone for Hamilton because I think this is just a coin flip one where it could be either one of them.
Yeah. I think Max likes the track. Red Bull tend to do a bit better. yeah.
I don't really want to repeat a 2017 with Hamilton qualifying 14th. Do not want
Well,
that.
I do.
I want my bonus point. It's the only time I'll be rooting for Hamilton when it actually has a means benefit to me.
Well, I sort of wanted to, because then it would make the championship standing a bit more interesting.
Yes,
because
it will.
You would get a couple of points.
Yeah. I don't think you'll get much higher than you'll make 10 places and that'll be about it. So.
Yes. So I went for my top 5 because Max got pole.
Yep.
I feel like Verstappen. Oh, sorry. I feel like Verstappen is once you get pole. What?
You're making me yawn now.
Oh, sorry. Once you get pole, basically the qualifying order is basically the same. There might be one or few changes, but it's Monaco. So I've gone Verstappen, Hamilton, Perez, because I do think Red Bull, they've got a lower car at Reg, wherever it is, and Mercedes got a higher. And I do think it's a low downforce track, so I do think Red Bull do benefit it better.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to go Leclerc because it is a home race, and also he has shown he is like number 4, number 5.
Yeah.
And he does tend to do well in Monaco, so I put him 4th. And then 5th, I went Bottas. I think he's going to have an awful race. I don't think the car suits the track.
No, well, that's the thing. Yeah, I've gone for a Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas podium because I don't think Bottas will perform that bad. I think he's gonna. I think he's probably got a quicker car than Leclerc has to get it around qualifying. So I think he'll out qualify him. And then my 4th, Perez. I agree. Red Bulls do quite well at this track, but I don't know how much Perez feels comfortable in that car yet to perform at Monaco. And 5th, Leclerc, because again, he's like you said, he's shown promise. It's his home race. He knows exactly what he needs to do in that car at that track. So I think he'll put it easily in comfortable 5th.
Just remember who overtook at Spain.
Yes, I understand that, but it's the question of then pitting and everything else. Like, it's going to be a pit stop race, isn't it? We'll fight. So it's going to be one in the pit stops.
That's true, all right. Should we do final thoughts and including some thoughts from the race from people who gave comments in?
Yeah, no, I wasn't so enthralled by this race. I did text my partner and say, when they asked, how did you find the race? I was just like, it was on. I was sitting in, I had the race on. I was live tweeting and I was then writing an essay at the same time. So it kind of puts it in perspective just how much I needed to pay attention to that race because you could zone out for 20 laps and not miss anything. So I don't really want to see it. I want to see the improvements at Barcelona. I want to see that chicane gone. I want to see more chance of overtaking and hopefully we get something from it. But I know we've got one of our fans who pays attention. We've been interacting with quite a lot. It's JPR Photos on Instagram. You can go give him a follow. But the thing is, he's talking about how we guessed top 3. That was about it. But really saying that Hamilton is like a more competent driver at the end of the day. Mercedes are a better team. It's coming down to that skill and precision that they're known for both of them. And Red Bull were just completely caught out by it. And Mercedes got a pit window. They took it and that's all she wrote.
Yeah. Final thoughts. I feel like, again, lap 1 was great. It's a shame. I do feel like they need to think about the layouts of some of these tracks because it's just a possession and we don't possession. Yeah, okay, you're just nodding. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I agree. Like it's like if you got track position,
car around.
Yeah, if you have position, you got it. And it is. So I just want to put my hate having doing Spain to Monaco back to back is it's 2 very mundane Grand Prix to watch.
That's it, really. Let's look forward to Monaco.
Yay, Monaco!
Like Monaco.
Well, as I was saying before, like we've got COVID restrictions gone. We can actually watch a Grand Prix together. Which would be amazing. Finally, I don't have to sit here in an empty room shouting to myself. So, well, I hope everyone enjoyed listening to our Chassis Chatter, episode number 6, list on about the Spanish Grand Prix. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And we'll, as I say, we do have some track videos up for some older tracks previously. We're hoping in a couple of weeks to get the heads down. We'll just put all the rest of the tracks that we've missed so far for the history. But anyway, I'm glad you've enjoyed, and we'll catch you all soon. Thanks for listening.